Our sister got shot with live ammunition yesterday. Her condition is critical right now. We see the military is taking brutal action on us, but we young people will lead the protest from various groups in ever peaceful ways. We will keep fighting again.
Well, Human Rights Watch has called on Myanmar's military to stop the use of excessive as well as lethal force against the anti-coup demonstrators. Phil Robertson is the Deputy Director for the Human Rights Watch Asia Division. He joins us now from Bangkok. Good to have you on the show, Phil. Local reports are pointing to a young woman being shot in the back of her head, as well as a man in his chest, I believe, in the capital. It's believed that the police are behind this. And you have called on the police to immediately end the use of excessive as well as lethal force against people protesting across the country, right?
That's correct. I mean, these two people were injured during events yesterday in Naypyidaw. There is very distinct video of the woman being shot in the head, where she is, in fact, not holding anything. She is looking away from the police line when she is shot. It is a very clear use of lethal force. It is very clear illegal use. Well beyond what is allowed under international human rights standards. And we're demanding that the police investigate and hold those who fired that shot accountable.
How confident are you that local authorities will adhere to these international standards and actually open up an investigation?
Well, unfortunately, we're not terribly confident about that. That's why we're putting pressure on the UN and other governments around the world to demand action from Myanmar. We recognize that this is a rights-abusing military government. It is a government composed of a military that has used deadly force against protesters in the past. And we are not going to let our guard down one bit. We are going to basically be tracking down every single event, every single action, and calling them out on whatever they do.
Mon, who was just on before you, she briefly mentioned this. The authorities we're seeing are they're really trying to keep people from gathering, aren't they? I mean, 2 days ago we saw the military imposing a curfew. On top of that, there are some overly broad restrictions on gatherings across many townships and states.
Right. Well, that's what they're using as a specific provision of law that basically grants authority to officials to stop any sort of gatherings for almost any reason. It's a very broadly written law that is being abused by the authorities, and it's spreading out. It's going to increasingly spread almost nationwide, I expect. They're doing whatever they can to try to stop these protests. The government is, in some ways, quite desperate to have the literally hundreds of thousands of people that are coming out on the streets every day in Myanmar to stay home. And people are not going to do that because they're outraged and they don't want to go back to a military dictatorship of the sort that they suffered under for almost 5 decades.
Phil, pleasure talking to you. Appreciate your analysis. Phil Robertson from Human Rights Watch.